The next day where Jasmine will be the one challenging Norman, and played out quite differently from Misty as Jasmine, for the other hand, was completely repaired, and surprisingly, as she managed to surprise Misty as she sends out her newly evolved Pokemon Steelix, and after a few help from her teacher Roxanne, as her Steelix managed to make the difference maker as it managed to knock out Norman's other two Pokemon, leaving to slacking, and Steelix has been showcasing its tremendous power, but unfortunately after dealing with the other two mons, Estelle has fallen, which results Jasmine to send out Corsola, and surprisingly as Jasmine found a perfect counter to slacking, as Norman tried to use a powerful hammer but quickly gets countered by Corsola's Protect, and once it does that, as Slacking tries to recover, giving Corsola enough time to launch a powerful rock move, the powerful rock slide, doing some major damage, and once Norman tries to call back with a powerful crush claw as Corsair uses protect again and is falls into a pattern as Jasmine's reliance on using protect the whole time has greatly give her and a Pokemon great advantage, while Norman has to quickly had distraction outside of Colossus protect, but unfortunately as Corsair managed to do too much damage over slacking, and this leads Jasmine to gain her fifth badge and pretty much earning as Misty has a greater teeth while she is making mistakes with her technical, while Jasmine already made a masterful plan as she realizes that there's a bigger gap between them in in not just prowess but also with tactics ahead of her. After earning their badge for Northman, as they decided both trainers will go up to the north side of Hoenn, as they never really traveled there, and they know for a fact there are three more badges that they need to battle to enter the Hoenn Ring. And after for some time now traveling back where the volcano they previously as they surprisingly missed, but once they get past through Route 130, as they find a brand new area with wild Pokemon that some they never seen before. But after for quite some time now, as both trainers feeling a bit rugged through the travel and deciding to finally take a break. But in the meantime, after a night of relaxation and seeing the moon shining in the night, and after the next day, as both trainers wanting to be ready for the next gym battle as the beginning their regular preparation of training. As Jasmine is still thinking on what her teacher said a few days ago, that she will can never be the type of trainer to focus on one particular Pokemon type and needs to grow from that and isn't sure what her teacher said, but in the meantime she is going to do something that she knows what she's good at, training her Pokemon. While Misty is commanding for her Marshcharm to get a much more focused aiming with its March shot, while it always felt a bit sluggish like flinging with sand, but after for some hours on focusing and fine-tuning its move as Marshall have finally mastered Marcha to the point where Marcha have evolved into a much more stronger move into a Mud Bomb, as Marshall has managed to break through trees or branches and even cripple boulders, as Marshall is feeling pretty good after learning a stronger move, including Misty, as on the other hand, as Jasmine mentally her Steelix on finally mastering Iron after destroying a boulder, feeling quite proud, including Aaron has actually mastered Shockwave that greatly benefit from Jasmine's battle with Norman, and Costa finally catching up with most of the two, trying to focus on its battle, while on the other hand, when Jasmine tries to look for her stubborn Electrota, she noticed Fluffy isn't around. and trying to look for it deep in the woods. Finding out after for some time she could hear something attacking and feeling a bit anxiety as she looks to the forest as she sees Fluffy attacking a wild Skarmory to the point where Skarmory isn't fighting back, it's just trying to survive from Fluffy's attack and feeling quite responsible for the four steel type Pokemon as Jasmine puts herself between Fluffy and Skarmory as Fluffy doesn't want to just hurt Jasmine, just wants to hit the just hit the flying Pokemon, but Jasmine had it up to the point where its yell is actually getting Fluffy to actually stop mid thunder punching in the air as Jasmine shouts out that he has been nothing but trouble ever since she captured it, being a nuisance, attacking Pokemon for no other reason, and quite to the point that she had enough, and Fluffy doesn't seem to care, and after a final not caring motion of Fluffy's face, as Jasmine finally had enough and pulled out its Pokeball and releasing it. This actually shocked Fluffy quite to the point where it for a moment it was a shocker moment, but ultimately just says pretty much grateful and just ran away, leaving Jasmine to an emotional state as she just turns to the injured Skarmory and feeling quite responsible as it's her job to take care of Skarmory. As once Misty finds out Jasmine has been missing and finally find her, and she is quite amazed that Jasmine is managing to take care of Skarmory, but quickly finds out that Jasmine releases Fluffy, and to Mrs. confused and asking why, as Jasmine just said it's quite simple as Jasmine had enough with her Pokemon to the point where she just had enough and she just releases it as Mercy could understand this, but releasing a Pokemon is another entirely, and Mercy isn't too sure if she could even deal with it. But thinking back, she does have a Pokemon that doesn't necessarily. The only difference is that Tenkoku isn't like Ampharos attacking random Pokemon. But if that ever happened, Misty might have to do something about with Tenkoku's attitude to not listening to her. And after the next day, I'm finally going to the town where the supposed gym leader has been living out and finding out that she is a flying type specialist as right now Jasmine it's her turn to battle, but clearly Messi could see there's something on her face and not wanting to push any further as Messi is decided if she will go first if Jasmine's okay with it. And Jasmine naturally just simply shrugs says okay. And after that as Messi battles Marona in the meantime. When Nona faces Misty, as both trainers take both positions on opposite of the battle, as the referee calls out for this will be a 3-on-3 battle, and the gym leader will start out first, as Winona simply sends out her powerful Tropius to battle, and Misty could tell this is a very tough Pokemon, especially when Jasmine understands calling to Misty and to be warning to her that this Pokemon is both flying type and grass type, meaning that Misty's most of her water Pokemon is going to really struggle against Tropius, but she isn't too worried because she has one counter that could give her advantage as she just simply sends out as Chen Shao is sent out from Mrs. Pokeball, and Bow and Jasmine isn't too sure about Misty choice because Chen Shao is a pretty recent Pokemon to Misty's team and isn't too sure, but Misty on the other hand has fully confident and wanting for her Pokemon to have a redemption pick from her last gym battle with Norman, as she commands for Chen Shao to take the first move with a powerful bubble with a new upgraded move Bubble Beam, as Chen Shao managed to launch a powerful burst of bubbles towards Stropis, but like usual, Astropis is simply not much effective against Gino's move thanks to being a grass type, as Winona just simply swap and you have to do a lot more better than that Misty because she is not holding back. But first I'm gonna send out a trap for your whole Pokemon that I know for fact you're gonna struggle as she commands for Tropius to set up Sunny Day, and Misty is quite horror as Tropius just simply sets up the sun and now Tropius is going to have a huge advantage as Messi's whole Pokemon of Water type is really going to struggle to do any damage within a sunny day condition. But Messi isn't too worried because Chinchilla isn't just water type but also an electric type as Messi calls upon a thunder shock attack as Chinchilla just simply shocks out a powerful electric burst and this time Misty and Chinchilla has been working on this move to be much more stronger as this does actually do some serious damage against Tropius being a flying type but luckily being grass type it does reduce some damage meaning it just took that damage normally as but unfortunately Tropius distribute shock after that simply grading at Chinchino as it simplifies this fast and really fast and unexpected launches a powerful air-slash Chinchino taking major damage against the Tropius and Nezuko noticed that she knows for a fact this Pokemon shouldn't be moving this fast and actually questioning what's happening here and Winona in the opposite of the figure simply grins as she just realize its Matropius ability chlorophyll when it's a sunny day increases its speed doubling it, meaning my Pokemon is stronger than your water types. As Tropius launches a powerful S/slash combination back to back, as Chichino is taking a full damage from it. But unfortunately, as Chichino tries to catch Tropius off guard with a confusion, but unfortunately, Tropius is managed to dodge out of the way and landing a powerful Razor leaves after Razor doing some serious damage that Misty knows that if as Chincha is not sure if we could take this there so much, and with Nona feeling much more confident and not to worry that Chino doesn't have enough power to get Tropius enough down as she commands for a powerful solar beam and this time Tropius didn't need to wait for too long as she immediately shot out with a power burst of grass type energy, but luckily Gigino managed to move out of the way just barely in time to but only get scratched by it. And right now Gigino is feeling a bit scared, very scared because it never had to deal with the situation, battling a Pokemon that he had never done. Even if it's in his own island, it was very peaceful and it's questioning himself if it's really worth it for the trouble. And the Chinchilla just look upon Misty and realizing how much fun they had together as Chinchilla realizing it spends its whole life being alone and right now her friend needs her the most as Chinchilla not wanting to go down, the simply gets a full burst of energy not wanting to give up as Missy could tell that Chinchilla is pulling all of its strength just to win for her as both of them are finally getting in sync which kind of is actually quite surprised from Winona and actually quite impressed but unfortunately she said it's simply too late for both of them and commanding for Tropius to end this all with a powerful air slap but unexpected once Tropius gets a bit too close as Missy commands for Shachino to launch a powerful soak, as both Pokemon and Widna are shocked and surprised, and Shachino managed to pull off the move as Tropius didn't become a grass type but became a pure water type, leaving for Chichino's Thunder Shock to do more damage than expected, as this has enough power to even knock out Tropius, leaving Winona quite surprisingly, and Missy is cheering on her Pokemon that she finally took out a strong Pokemon, and unexpected Digino seems to evolve into its evolution counter, but as it glows in a bright orb, evolving into Lantern, as Missy is quite surprised that Lantern has really evolved from front of her eyes, and didn't expect for Chinchino to evolve this soon when she captures it. It's Missy probably think that Chinchino is closer to evolution than expected. She just needed a push to get stronger and our evolution has revoked from that reaction as Winona is quite 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 shocked by this as Winona is getting a bit excited and not wanting not to slow down the momentum as she sends out her famous shiny swallow to battle as Messi is right now facing up against a very speedy fighter and the sun it's meaning that lanterns shouldn't do any damage. But once the battle continues, it's immediately clear that lantern has gotten a brand new body, but unfortunately it isn't too suitable for a land battle because Lantern is quite struggling to even move, and to the point where Messi could tell Lantern has no chance, as Messi just simply declared that Lantern isn't fit to battle, leaving Lantern to be quite shocked and a bit angry because both angry and sad because he still want to continue, but Messi gives it reason that it didn't have anywhere to fight back because of its disadvantage on the land, as Lantern hurting from its trainer acknowledging it is going to have a tougher battle, as Missy just simply calls Lantern back to a Pokeball, and right now is sending out her second threat and sending out for Pelakka to battle, and immediately Pelakka's ability just seems to be activating, shutting down Sunny Day entirely and replacing with a powerful rain, giving Misty a big advantage because in the rain it gives all of her Pokemon tremendous power with a water move, and it's quite very clear from that, as even though Swallow is a very fast Pokemon, perhaps the fastest Pokemon in Winona Sim in general, but unfortunately Swallow is a bit overwhelmed from Pelipper's Hurricane, which can never miss under the condition of rain. As Swallow desperately tries to move out of the attacks, but unfortunately Pelipper seems to have a slight advantage within the rain. But luckily for Hoenn, Swallow is much of a pushover by using combination with quick attacks and aerial ace to actually get Pelipper to actually earn this battle, and Pelipper isn't too fond of that because it is a slightly lazier Pokemon on Misty, but it is a bit a mischievous way, and seeing a fun way how to mess up with Swallow to the point where Swallow throughout the battle is becoming much more frustrated to the point where he kinda almost ignore where Noah's and just want to attack Pelipper out of frustration, leaving for Pelipper to get a surprising KO with its brand new move that Misty has been working on with a powerful weather ball, as Pelipper conjure up a small ball and be adding the power of the rain, launching a powerful water ball towards Swallow, and quickly gets knocked out by Swallow, leaving the victor to Pelipper as it simply grins the battlefield. And Miss is quite happy for Pelipper's win, and when no one finally recalling Swallow, as she simply grins as she sends out her strongest Pokemon, as she simply sends out Altaria to battle, and Messi is quite surprised because this Altaria seems to be very larger than not larger than Swallow, but not as big as her trophy, but just big enough to be quite terrifying. Even its cute looking appearance that Messi could see, but she could clearly see this Atari is very strong, and Jasmine is still yelling at the crowd for Messi to watch her because Atara is part flying and dragon type, meaning that Atara would be resisted to most Misty's water move against that, leaving Misty to grin because she was hoping to rely on Rain to do most of the heavy lifting, but unfortunately she still has to work for it, as well. That isn't too liking about it, but he will still give it its all, as Otara didn't even go for some sort of move, but simply uses Dragon Dance to boost its power, and Messi quickly realized this as she commands for Pelipper to try to put it down with a powerful Hurricane, but Pelipper's Hurricane doesn't even move Otara, as it just continues to fly as if Pelipper's Hurricane move didn't even move its flying, leaving Misty to be a bit nervous as Winona commands for a second Dragon Dance, as Otara once again is getting faster, and Misty can even feel that Otara is getting stronger as Misty desperately commands for a powerful weather ball, but Otara just simply avoided the attack and landing for a powerful sky attack, which would do massive damage towards Pelipper, but luckily Pelipper managed to pull off a protect, allowing it to avoid the move entirely. But as soon as Otara gets turns, it does a massive dragon breath, as Pelipper did it caught from an attack massively, it consumed it entirely, but not to the point where it's knocked for Pelipper as a command launches a powerful weather ball, which does some solid damage as Misty desperately gets Pelipper to fly up, hoping for the ram to get to mess up Atara's trajectory. But unfortunately for Misty, that's a huge mistake against a flying specialists like Nawana and Atara, who has been doing this for years now, and Atara did not lose sight of Pelipper and simply uses a powerful sky attack, and that does knock out Pelipper from the sky and crushing them pretty hard, forcing Misty to return Pelipper back. As Misty is partner, there's no other choice but to recall Pelipper, as she quickly thinks which Pokemon to send out and isn't too sure, and she doesn't have many two options, and she thinking about Lambre, but its grass that might be a bit hindrance, and isn't sure that Celios' tank shoot it will be a help against Aturles being a fast Pokemon, and she did thought about Tenkoku but quickly shake that idea entirely because she doesn't want to have another incident like it with the battle name with Norman, as she quickly pawns thought leaving her with just one more Pokemon, and she kinda grinned because she needed to send out a top Pokemon for this, as Missy simply sends out Marshtomp to battle, as Marsha quickly yells its name throughout the battlefield, being a bit excited, as once the battle begins, Adora is simply using its flying type advantage by taking to the sky, launching a powerful dragon blade, forcing for Marshall to avoid much of the attack. And unfortunately, its March shot wouldn't do much anything towards Atara, being quite immune to it, as leaving Marshall to heavily rely on its water pulse, doing some moderate damage towards Atalia with lucky shots, but unfortunately most of them completely missed it, as Atara just simply goes in for another sky attack, but luckily Swampert managed to grab on to Wood Noah's surprise Antoya, allowing for Misty commanding for a mud shot, as even though it doesn't do much, but it does leaving a slight disaster for Winona and Octara, as its eye is completely consumed with mud, as as Otara's move is getting completely missed by Marshall, which does allow for Marshall to return with a launching a powerful super effective move rock slide towards Otara, leaving major damage to Otara, but this managed to get Otara to clean out of its eye and allowing for it to return an attack, and now it's attacking much more fearsomely because it really didn't like that its clothes got very muddy, leaving for it to be quite angered, and Misty and Marshall are the back foot as Marshall desperately tries to move out of the way and try to do some damage, but Misty actually kinda thinks of something here and quickly realizing Marshall on the condition of the rain isn't helping her, and she finally noticed Marshall's move isn't even doing much against it, even though rain should have helped, and the would not just simply grins as this is its Autolus's ability Cloud 9, even though the weather here could still happen, but the positive effects on Pokemon who takes advantage is nullified, as Misty once again that doesn't even get to use the advantage of rain, leaving Misty to be quite in a struggle situation. And so Misty has an idea and she commands for Marshall to use a powerful rock slide, but of course the Archer simply got out of the way as Misty once again commands for a mud shot, as both everyone is quite surprised that it wouldn't do much, and then Misty points it towards the rocks that Marshall just summoned, as Marshall, trusting its trainer, launches a powerful mud shot, and a spray of rock shards scatter the battlefield, which does caught the small rock shard to catch Australia, doing some major damage, which does allow for Marshall to launch a powerful water port, but this time it's getting much more bigger, as Misty could notice this isn't water force anymore, it's muddy water, as this brand new move managed to consume Australia completely, covering in mud, as the mud is simply too much for T'Challa, leaving it to be defeated, leaving Misty to be the victor here. Once Misty had a victorious battle with Manoa, and it's apparently Jasmine's turn, and Jasmine does try to battle, but Misty, and when Noah could sense there's something wrong, as Jasmine keeps absently mindly embedded or thinking something else, her mind drifting away from the battle as her Pokemon tries to get her to focus as Jasmine has to always have to apologize for them, but ultimately as no wanted to simply cause for Jasmine to fit continue on, forcing her with Noah the gym leader to close this battle because of the challenger unwilling to focus in the battle until her mind is fixed straight. And Jasmine protests this but ultimately accepts because she is right. Her mind is she isn't herself as late because she couldn't get her head straight today. And after the next day, as Misty tries to get her friend back into shape, but ultimately fails to do so, as not even her own Pokemon trying to cheer her up could even do so. As a bright morning, as Jasmine decided to have a walk trying to get her mind to clear up, but after for some time now, as she's still trying to fight over this empty mindedness and isn't sure why, but after quite some bit, as she heard a news that a wild emperor has been attacking wild Pokemon, and people say the electric type hasn't stopped attacking these flying Pokemon, and Jasmine, knowing exactly who it is, quickly rushes in, as Fluffy in the meantime is battling wild Spearows, while even though its electric type benefits on fighting against these types of Pokemon, but it's been doing this and exhaustion is finally catching up to the point where trying to use any electric move seems to fail it, as it's feeling quite exhaustion over time, as finally Fearow tried to protect its family against this intruder and doing some major damage with a powerful drill peck, trying to damage Fluffy to the point where it never stands up again. As Jasmine in the other side tries to send her Pokemon, but quickly realizes most of her Pokemon are in the Pokemon Center as her belt is quite empty of them, having no other choice as Jasmine herself takes her upon herself to take the damage for Fluffy. As Fluffy in the midst of in a quite shocked is quite shocked why would the strength do it for her even though she just sent Lisa, but Jasmine just looks upon her to Fluffy with a smile expression. I should have never let you go, as Fluffy blinks a few times in confusion, because I still care about you, Jasmine said with trembling and the pain. You're still my Pokemon, you always were. As Fluffy's mouth opens slightly, then shuts again, with its roar beginning to run out in aggressive but with raw emotion. I was scared, she whispered. I let you go because I thought I feared you, but I should have never been hard on you. I should have told you the truth. I need you, Fluffy. As the spirit tries to attack the Pokemon, unfortunately it will hit Jasmine. As Fluffy seeing this scream its name quite loud as it begins to evolve into its full evolution, becoming much more taller, having a yellow body pulse of electricity and a red gem glowing like a warning beacon as its eyes narrows and launching a powerful new move that it just learned, the powerful Dragon Pulse, destroying most of the Spheros to the point where they decided it's not worth it defending their territory and just fly off. And after Jasmine stood up watching Fluffy evolve into an Emperor, and Jasmine isn't too sure, but once Emperor comes to Jasmine, realizing she's being okay, and she just simply hugs, and Jasmine, a bit shocked, greatly returns the hug herself.